ॐ नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्यासम्प्रदायकर्तृभ्यो वंशऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणचक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्म उपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्तु निराकरणं मे अस्तु। तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्माः ते मयि सन्तु। Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gurubhyo Namaha. So, the sixth chapter of Chandogyopanishad, where we have been hearing about Aidadatmimidam Sarvam Tat Satyam Sa Atma Tattvamasi Shvetaketo. This has been repeated till now in all the 12 sections which we have concluded. To recap for those who are listening for the first time, the dialogue between father and son, Uddalaka and Shvetaketu, is what is the subject matter in this methodology of the matter in this chapter, where the father was asking the son whether do you have been taught, because he found the son is having a bit of arrogance of having studied, and he was of the age of 24. So he wanted to test his son whether his arrogance is due to the what you call the inadequate education he had from the teacher where was sent for teaching. So he asked the son whether do you know that with which there is nobody in our tradition, in our lineage, who is not known as a Brahmavid. Do you know what it is? Have you been initiated into that teaching? So the son says, obviously, it looks like my teachers have no knowledge about it. Had they known it, they would have initiated it. So therefore, Father, I approach you as a disciple. Please teach me. That is how the scenario started. Sadeva Saumya Idamagra Asid is how the whole thing started. In the beginning, everything was in the form of existence. No names and forms and shapes and adjectives and qualifications, nothing. Then there also, the statement in the Upanishad immediately follows it. Asadeva Sajjayata. Asat, which is now being seen as the names and form. Why it is Asat? Because they have a beginning and an end. Therefore, they are Asat. The definition as per the Advaita Sat is that which never changes. Yadna vyabhijarati tat satyam. So the truth is only that which remains as truth all the time. And in the same fashion, irrespective of the conditions which are affecting that. So rest of the things are all called asat, means they are bound by changes and having beginning and end. So Sadeva Soumya Idamagrasi. Hey Soumya, my dear son, Sateva Agre Asit. In the beginning only it was Sat in the shape of this. The whole thing which you are now seeing was in the form of existence. The same existence is now appearing as the names and forms. For that, the Sat imagined or conceived an idea of three principles called Teja, Apa, and Agni. That is the fire principle, the water principle, and the food principle. And then they subsequently conceived their own projections, and then triplication took place between them, and the whole world came into existence. It is only from the imagination of that existence this whole thing is being appearing. So, to bring in down the point that it is only Sat which is now being seen as names and forms, and names and forms are not reality. To drive in this point, three examples were given by Father to the Son. The first one was that of mud, a lump of clay becoming different parts like the pot and the lamp, a doll, etc. So, what happened is that the mud itself took different shapes and names, and then we call it as pot, lamp, etc. So, Vacharambanam Vigaro Namadeyam Vrittikateva Satyam. These, what we experience and transact in this world as objects, are nothing but that Sat only. Because just as the mud only is the reality for the pot, without the mud, the pot has no existence. The pot will never be known or even seem to be existing if you remove the mud from the shape and the name of the pot. Same way, gold and ornaments, water and the other things like the river, cloud, uh, snow, etc. Everywhere you will find this principle is there is from which everything appears in different names and forms. And subsequently in the chapters where he started explaining that Aidadatmamidam sarvam tat satyam tattumasi shvedaketo, he started bringing out the examples in different nature and different forms to drive in. And each time the Son had a doubt. Therefore, Vitnyapayatu, please explain to me again. So, and the Father goes, this is repeated 9 times in this Upanishad, Tattvamasi Shvetaketu. So now we are into the final 4 sections of this Upanishad, starting from 13, 14, 15, and 16. Let us see how we understand from these examples what the Father is teaching the Son. So in the 13th section he says, Lavanameda Udage Avadhaya Athama Pratarupasita Tha Iti Sahayat Tada Chakara Tamho Vacha Yada Usha Lavanamudage Avadha Anga Tadaharati Tadhavat Mishya Na Vidayatha Yatha Vilinameva. So this is a dialogue between the Father and the Son. Edat Lavanam, this little salt which I am giving to you, Udage Avadaya, drop it into the water in this pot. Prata ma upasidha iti. In the morning when you wake up, bring this to me. Iti saha tada chakaraha. So Shvetaketu did that exactly as per the instructed by the Father. He dissolved the salt, he puts the salt into the water and overnight, and next day morning he takes it to the Father. Dosha yet labanam udage avadada tad ahara. The Father now tells the Son, what we dropped into the water before you went to sleep, dosha, yetat labanam, that quantity of salt, udage avada tat ahara, what you have put it into the water, please bring it. Iti. Tad avamrishya yatha abhut tada na viveda vilinameva. The Son looks into the water and they can't see the salt. So he says that I cannot see the salt. It has been dissolved in the water. I can see only the water, no salt. So the salt is missing, salt has gone. I cannot see the salt. What I see is only the water. But the salt was there when I put it. I could see the salt at the bottom of the vessel. But now I can't see it. So here we have to take that this example which is being explained by, in this example is that One is the creation, the other is the Sat. The creation is the salt, and the Sat is the water. And when the solution takes place, or when the creation is understood in its reality, what you will see is only Sat. But in the reverse order also, if you taste any part of the water, you will have the state of salt only. Same way, in the creation also, every creation has the salt or the Sat in it, present in it. To explain that, the second mantra says, Anga asya anda achamayiti. Katamiti lavanamiti. Madhya achameti. Katamiti lavanamiti. Andada achameti. Katamiti lavanamiti. Abhiprasyai tataha mopa sidatha iti tada tata chakara. Tat from sat samvartate tam hovacha atravavakhila sat soumya na nibhalaya se atraiva kileti. Anga, Saumya, Anga, both are the meaning is the same. My dear son, Asya Antamat Achama iti. Please taste this from the top of the water. Katamiti, obviously is that Lavanamiti, if there is a salt taste in it. Madhyamat Achama iti. Taste it from the middle. Katamiti, how is that? Lavanamiti, there is a taste of the salt in it. Andat Achama iti. At the bottom, whatever is little left, taste it. Katamiti, lavanamiti. Yedat abhiprasya atama upasita. Now throw this water and come to me. Iti that father told the son. Tada chakaraha. Sheshaketu did exactly as instructed by the father. Tad, that salt. Sashwet, always. Sambarte, was always existing. Which means that tat or that sat which we are now seeing in the creation, we do not see it with our sense organs. But it is always present in all the creation. Anything which we take in our experience, we cannot mention something which we can experience at the same time doesn't have an existence. Even if it is a invisible thing, even we call as ignorance, we say there is ignorance of something. The something is then becomes the ignorance. Not knowing the specifics of the something is the ignorance of something. But the something has to exist to know, we even to say the ignorance of it. Same way, when we say I'm not seeing something, means you are expecting something to be seen and you are now not seeing. Therefore, the something has to exist which you are now not seeing. Now look at every object in our transaction. There is a existence, easiness with which we know that the object exists. Whether it is an internal sukha dukkhadi, like the happiness, sorrow, etc. in the mind, or the physical or the subtle organs or the subtle things which are in the world outside, we have the experience of their existence. So what we are experiencing as names and forms and objects is not the names and forms of the objects. We are experiencing is the existence in them. Sat, whether it is the black hole, cosmos, sun, moon, planets, even an iota of thing, an atom or quartz, whatever may be that. The moment we have anything which is to be mentioned, it has to have existence in it as preconditioner. Only a thing which is existing that we can perceive. We may not observe it because of our limitations of our sense organs. That doesn't mean that the existence is absent. We cannot see the existence in anything. Only when it becomes name and form, we can call it as existence. Same way, iti tam huvacha soumya atra vava khila sat na nibhalayase atra eva khila upalapsyed iti. Tam huvacha, the father told the son, Emameva, just as now the salt and the water, Atravava Kila Sat, this Sat is a part and parcel of all the names and forms. Na Nibhalese, you are not seeing it, that's all. Atrayeva Kila Upalapsyase, but there is a method in which you can experience it, or you can have the direct experience of Sat, Atrayeva, in this very name and form itself. So it is now, developing that what you call the inquisitiveness in the son, saying what is that now, how can it be done? So the son again asks the son, Bhuya eva man vijñāpayatu iti. Please explain to me. Sa esha anima aidadatmyamidam sarvam tat satyam sa atma tad tvamasi shvetaketo. Just as everything is existing, don't you know that you are also existing? The names and forms which you say the world outside, now you are trying to locate the things in the world outside. But are you not the part of the world, and are you not existing yourself? So Atma, this Atma of yours, with which you think that you exist, Tadeva Satyam, that is the truth. And that is what I am talking about till now. In the creation, everything is available. It is there in you, it is there in me, it is there in the Anoraniyan Mahato Mahiyan, the smallest of the small and the biggest of the biggest. It is available. So, how do you make it experiential to you is know your own existence. What is the existence you have in you? By removing that things which are non-existent in your thing or changing thing, asat. Your body has gone through change. Your look has gone through change. Your hair, your physical body, your possessions, your names and form, the world, time, space, everything is kept on changing. But there is a changeless one in you. That which doesn't change in you. Aidadatmyam idam sarvam. And that is the sarvam. For everything there is this same thing. When things we are noticing the change, there is a changeless sat present in everything in which we observe the changes. And Tha Atma, that is the Atma, not only of yours, of everything, that is the reality of those existences. The existences which we call it as Nama Rupa, Vacharam Banam Vikaro Namadeya. That is the name and form what we are experiencing. But to experience the name and form, the prerequisite of that Atma, that reality of everything has to be present there in it. And when you are looking at the name and form and the changes, actually what you are looking at is that Sat, and the name and change come and go. Just as in the rope, when you saw the snake appeared, and when you knew the rope, the snake disappeared. Same way, in the Sat, when the name and form appeared, you thought it is a pot. From the mud, when you saw a pot, you say the mud became a pot because it is a vikara, it is a transformation. But mud has not gone through any change. The mud has remained as mud only. Only what has changed is that from the lump shape, you got now a name and form called pot. Same way, when you project into the something which is not reality being experienced, there is goodness in it, badness in it, or that is good, that is ugly, or whatever the thing, what you are attributing is like the snake on the rope. The object by say has no goodness or badness or anything like that. All the three times the object is the object only. If the object had the quality of goodness and change not becoming, it should be good all the time. What we like sometime back has no more like, is not like, we don't like it anymore. All these changes are happening is because we are seeing the snake on the rope. These attributions which we are doing onto this is what is creating asata sajjayate. That these asat which we are seeing, the changing things, sat jayate, sata jayate. From the sat only it is appearing. Because in the background that satta is there, the sat is the reality in which now you are attributed the name and shape. Tat satyam, that sat, that what changeless is the one which is, we call it as satyam, which I explained in the beginning, that which doesn't change at any point of time under any conditions is the satyam. Sa Atma, that is that Atma, that is the self in you, the self in me, the self in everything. Everything has a self. That is what you are to represent. Tat Satyam Tat. Tattvamasi Shvetaketo. That is what your truth is. Not what you think that your name and your age and your education and everything. Bhuya eva ma Bhagavan Vitnyapayetu. Please continue further explaining to me. Let me do the mananam by listening to you again and again. By when you are reasserting to me, it is also helping me to do mananam, and I am getting more and more getting convinced. So the father goes to the next, the 14th one. Yada Somya Purusham Gandhare Abhya Abhidanita Cha Aniya Tam Tado Atijane Visrajayet. Sa Yatha Tatra Prang Vang Va Adharang Va Pratyang Va Pradmaita Bhidhanacha Anito Abhinadacho Visrushta Tasya Yata Abhinahanam Pramuchya Prabhuya Detam Disham Gandhara Etam Disham Vrajati Sa Gramad Gramam Prachan Pandido Metavi Gandhara Gandharanevo Pasampandade Evameva ha Acharyavan Purusho Veda Tasya Tavadeva Chiram Yavanna Vimokshe Ada Sambatsya Iti. That I am reading the first and second together because it's a continuous statement. That's why I read the 1 and 2 together. Saumya, my dear son, Yatha, just as Purusham, somebody or one person, Gandharebhya, from the village or from the city of Gandhara, Avinadaksham, tying down his eyes by blindfolded, Aniya Tatatam, after having him brought to Adijane Visrajet. Now this Adijane has got two meanings. Adijana means either it can be a place where there are no people, or it can be in a place where there is so much crowded that in the crowd he is not able to make out which is the direction he has come or he has not gone. I mean, he has to go. Visrajet means he is being let off. Yadasa prangva udagangva adarangva pratyangva. Now he has lost his bearing. So whether he should go to east, north, south or west is what is aham abhinidaksha anita. I have been brought here by blindfolded, and therefore I have lost my direction. Iti pradmayita yada tasya abhinihanam pramuchya. Then he was making this sound that I do not know my bearing, whether I should go to east, west, north, south, which is that. And when his blindfoldedness was removed, etan disham Gandhara edan disham vraja idi prabruyat. One person tells him, it is in this direction you have to go towards Gandhara if you are from Gandhara or this city. In you go in this direction, you will reach your destination. Pandita Medavi, that person who explained is one who knows the direction. Not only that, he is able to explain the method also, how to go ahead. Medavi means he has studied, he knows the direction. Not only that, he is a Pandita means Pandityam. So he has also all the, benevolence, kindness and everything for to guide a person who is in distress. Sa prichan gramad gramam gandharan eva upasabbhadyate. He goes in the direction as instructed by that Pandita by asking in each village the direction, verifying it is whether it is right. And Gandharan eva upavadyate. He reaches finally his destination from where he was brought blindfolded. Evam eva, in the same manner, iha acharyavan purusha veda tasya tavadeva yavad na vimokshe tavadeva chiram atha sambatsye. Evam eva, in the same manner, iha, here in our context, when the father is teaching the son, Acharyavan Purusha, this person who has the status of an Acharya, of a Guru, Tasya Veda, he is explaining to him, Yavadna Vimoshe, till he doesn't release from his body. Vimokshe, Yavadna Vimokshe, the meaning can be explained as till his death, or till he leaves his individuality or the identification with the individuality. Tavadeva chiram. And once he dealings with his identification with the individuality, only that much is the time what is required. When the Acharya is telling the disciple, Tadattvamasi Shvetaketo, if he has really been qualified, Tavadeva chiram, that one word would have been enough. Atasambatsye, for him to attain that realization that I am that Sat, not identified as the body and understand with everything which I am related to the body, aham mama iti. He becomes one with Sadi Sambadye. He becomes one with Sat. Because he said, Sat Satyam, Tattvamasi Shvetaketo. That is the Acharyavan Purusha who tells that same way. Example is given is that the blindfolded man who is brought to the crowded place and he loses his orientation. And he's being, going left, right and center where to go. One man, benevolent man, who knows the methodology and understanding and feeling compassionate to the person, explains the method in the same way. A person who is desirous to know the truth, who wants to achieve the reality of his own nature. Who am I? What am I? Or what is my true nature? What is the I which I am referring to when I am saying I in my transaction? I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not because they are all objects for me. I can observe them as objects. My thoughts are objects for me, my body is object for me. Anything outside the body is also objects for me. So objectification is there in everything. So who is the subject in it is not what I am able to understand. So Acharya, one Purusha, that man who is in the status of Acharya. And when he explains that Tat Tvamasi, that Sat is your nature, he Tavadeva Chiram. This is a very important word which is used in the quotations in all the discussions in the Brahma Sutra. There is not even a gap of a second. Tavadeva Chiram. That listening alone is that enough for a person to identify that I am not the individual whom I am thinking I am. I am that awareness in my awareness, and I am experiencing everything in awareness, and everything has got the consciousness and awareness in it. And I cannot see like the salt in the water. I am not seeing them but I am using, if it is not there, the object has no locus standi, or it cannot be available for us to even know. So when I am knowing the name and form, I should know that I am knowing the existence of that name and form. The name is existing, the form is existing on something. I may transact with the name and form, but the existence is the reality with which I am transacting, because I am also that existence, because I am also an object for others, or I also is part of the creation. So when an Acharya tells that this is the truth, Tat Satyam, Tat Satmanam, Tatyamatsishyataketo, when he says that, there is not even a delay of a second when he hears. In the traditional commentaries, the examples are given is the 10th person in the missing 10th person, where the 10 villagers cross a flooded river, and after crossing that, they find that, one of them is missing. They do not know who is missing. Each one starts counting, and everybody counts only 9. And when they saying, and all of them are now distressed and not knowing, one person is missing. Who is missing? That is the time when Acharya and Purusha, one benevolent person, comes across and sees the 10 people sitting and crying. So ask them, why are you crying? So they say, no, 10 people crossed over the flooded river. Now we are only able to see the 9. Okay, start counting. So he starts counting 1, 2, 3, 1, the thing. Then after 9, he said there is only 9. Then that Purusha, that Acharya and Purusha, the benevolent person said, Dashamat Tomasi. You are the 10th person. You have been forgetting to count yourself. Dashamat Tomasi. The moment that is being told, was there any delay for him to know that 10th person is not missing? It was instantaneous, no? Tavadeva Chiram. Instantaneously he knew, oh, there are no 10 person in this thing. I didn't count myself. That was a mistake with which we were seeing only 9 people. This is the way in which Tavadeva Chiram Sata Sat Sampatye. To know the truth, only that much time is required. But for us, what happens is that Ajnana Samshaya Viparya, these 3 are the impediments which are prohibiting us and from us from knowing. Either we do not know what is Sat, what is the reality of anything. Samshaya, even if when the Upanishad or the Acharya says that this is the truth, because it is an archaic book and ancient, what is being told in Sanskrit and all, either it is that the translations are right or wrong, whether the explanations are right, there is no proper translations or explanation being given. All those comes as a doubt. And then Viparya, when it is being saying that, you should concentrate on the awareness. What we concentrate is on our mental thoughts. Our mental thoughts are not awareness. They are also objects, because we know our thoughts. So understanding our thoughts as the reality, or that what happens in the mind and the intellect, Mano Buddhi Hangara Chitta, in that whatever is happening, we think that is the consciousness, like that emergent property of neurons, etc., is because of this idea. This is what is called a viparya. If you can remove this Ajnana Samshaya Viparya, Tasya Tavadeva Chiram, to such a person, the moment he hears this thing, there is not a delay. He will know what is his reality, and he doesn't have to look anywhere. this far, no further, is what he has to understand, that there is nothing more to be done. So that is why he is being explained again and again. Esha Adima, this anima, this the smallest thing which is there present in everything, in as main, what, like the salt water where that we could not see the salt. That is the anima which is talking about. Sayesha anima aitadatmyamidam sarvam tat satyam sa atma tattumasi Shvetaketu. This is how that, but Shvetaketu was still not prepared. He understood, he is now heard it 7 times, 8 times he has heard it. But he says, Bhuya evaman Bhagavan Vitnyapetu. So Father, compassionate, Acharyavan Purusha, he says, Tada Soumya Iti. I will explain to you further, don't worry. Then he goes to the 15th section. Purusham Soumya Tapapinam Jnatayaha Paryupasate Janasi Mam Iti Tasya Yavanna Vang Manasi Sampadyate Mana Prane Prana Tejasi Teja Parasyam Devatayam Tavad Janati. Now, in this example, Father is giving the explanation of the event of a death of a human being. All this while, he gave the different examples which is from the world outside. Still the son asked, Bhuya eva Bhagavan Vitnyapayetu. Please explain to me. So the father knew that it has to be still more dearer to him, the way in which I should touch and explain it, for him to understand it. Saumya, a dear son, Upatapinam Purusham Jnatayah. Due to fever or typhoid or something like that, a person is in the deathbed. Purusham is in the deathbed. Jnataya, his relatives are around him because he is not keeping well and anytime he can kick the bucket. So people are asking, Mam Janasi, Mam Janasi. Do you know who I am? Look who has come. Look here, that your daughter is here, your son is here, your granddaughter is here. Please look, do you know who is that? Iti paryupasate. The people are around and asking him. Yavat tasya vang manasi mana prana tejasi. As long as his speech is not dissolved in the mind, and the mind in the prana, and the prana in the tejas. Now you should remember the first where the creation took. From the sat, tejas came to apa, and apa to annam. Now this is the reversal of the things what he is explaining here. So the vak we heard, for those who are taking the in annam becomes a vak, apa becomes the manas, and teja is the one which is that the prana. So we know that these 3 principles are being present even in the human body. So vak, the examples of the food when we eat, how that the gross becomes the waste, the middle becomes the such and such a part, the finer most becomes the vak for the annam. Same way the finer one becomes the mind for the apa, for the water principle, and prana for the tejas. This we have been taught in the beginning of the Upanishad. So here now the reversal is going to be explained. As long as yavat tasya vak manasi mana prana tejasi, in this order, if one dissolves in the other, teja parasyam devatayam na sampadyate tavad janati. And the final, this tejas or the prana is dissolving in the Tejas, and the Tejas is the one which goes into the Parasyam Devata, from where the Sat became all those things. So he becomes Sat. Even that means, even when the body is being discarded, the Sat aspect in the body doesn't go anywhere. The Sat is everywhere. So what happens is that the reversal of the projection which happened in the time of creation from the Teja, Apa and Annam, it became the Prana, the mind and the Vak, and then when through the Vak, Vajaram, Vadam, Vikaro, Namadayam, we started transaction and all. In the reverse order, what happens is that what happens, the speech becomes, he can't speak anymore, but his mind is operating. When the mind is now not in a position to operate, it is only the breathing is remaining, like how we are in our deep sleep. In that deep sleep, prana eva chalati. Then prana, when it dissolves in the teja, there will be slight warmth in the body. And that teja parasyam devada, the teja, when that dissolves in the sat, there will not be, the body also will become cold and numb and limp. Till that time, he knows whatever is happening is known by the mind for the individual, because these are all, knowing means not through the mind. These activities are instantaneous. Till the mind goes, there is a delay. Vak te mind. But from the mind to prana to tejas, it's all instantaneous. There is no time delay in it. That is why the last breath, when it is being done, the prana is merging with the teja and teja with the sat, is happening instantaneously. So that is how the reversal is taking place. Atha yada asya vang manasi sampadhyate mana prane prana tejasi teja parasyam devata ya madha na janati. Atha yada asya, then the person who is dying, vak manasi, the word speech into mind, mana prana, mind into the prana, prana tejasi, the prana into the tejas, teja parasyam devatayam sampadhyate, and the prana through the parasyam devata is becoming one with the sat. Atha na janati is what it is. He thinks he doesn't know. When he is dying also, he won't know, because that individuality is no more there. So what happens is that these expressions are what is like the salt dissolving in the water. It is becoming one with the sat. These names in the reverse, the same water where the salt is dissolved, if you try to, evaporate, you will find the salt crystals forming in. The water is not going anywhere. The water which is becoming is vapor, is still present everywhere. What we start seeing is the solidness of the salt. Same is the life which is being seen in the creation. When the creation of the objects takes place, it is the same fashion. Teja, Apa and Annam is the way in which the creation takes place, and the reversal is the one which is that when they are merging it. This way, you should know that even when, if you think that you are leaving the body, you are not actually leaving the body. Because the body is actually an appearance in the sat, like the crystals of the salt in the water. It is appearance in the water, in the sat. And when the individual appearances dissolve, what happens is that the sat ever remains. The remaining thing is always sat. Sa esha anima. This is the minutest thing which cannot be seen with the sense organs. Aidad atmamidam sarvam. This is the atma of everything. Tat satyam sa atma tattvamasi shvetaketu. So Shvetaketu is now almost get convinced. but a little bit is still left out. So he says that because he heard that death and everything, he had a sound in his mind that how does then that there is something called punarjanma or coming back again into life and things like that I heard. So let me ask him again, Bhuya eva ma bhagavan vitnyapayatu. Please explain to me, Father. How this can be understood. So the Father now goes to the last section where he is giving an example of a good old age old practice, those days which existed once upon a time, which today has no logical answer for it, whether it is right or wrong. But in our Puranas and the Itihasas and the mythology, we have heard that what is known as the Agni Pariksha, test by fire. If you are adhering to the truth will protect you even from the fire. That was the belief those days. But I found that for my convenience, I thought that I am not taking the fire as a literal fire. The truth is the truth. There is no doubt about that. It cannot change. Otherwise, it's not a truth. But the fire which is being explained here is not the fire of a hot metal or anything like that. It is the fire of mundane life. The life itself, the samsara, is itself as a fire. And those who are truthful and adhering to the truth, the samsara cannot touch. The mundane life, the vagaries of the day-to-day life will not touch such a person because he is adhering to the truth. And who are not adhering to the truth, they will be tossed up and down by the likes and dislikes and all the anger, jealousy, etc. of the world. So I take this as an example, not as the literally like the hot iron and fire. Anyway, let us see what the Upanishad is saying. Purusham saumya ata hasta grihitam anaya antya apaharshit steyam akarshit parashum asmai tapate iti ya sa yeti tasya karta bhavati tata evam nritam atmanam kurute so anritadhisando anritano atmanam andardhaya parashum taptam pratigrinnati sadhyate ata anyate. Saumya, my dear son, Purusham hastam grihitam iti anayanti. One person is being brought to the courtyard of the king by the soldiers of the king by his hand tied. Apaharshit steyam akarshit. This person has stolen material, therefore he needs justice. He needs to be given the justice. Asmai parashum tapata iti. To test that, an axe is being heated up to red hot shape. And saha tasya karta bhavati yadi tata eva atmanam anartam kurude. If he has really done the theft, he becomes the doer of the theft. Therefore, he becomes liable to be burned by the red hot iron. Anrdavi sandaha saha anardena atmanam andardhaya taptam parashum pratigrinnati sa dahyate ata hanyate. So, if he has anardam kurude, if he has done the theft, anardabhisandena, anardabhisandha, one he is attached to the falsehood, saha anurdena atmanam andardaya, in his adherence to non-truth, tapta parasum pradigrihnati tadahyate. When he touches this red hot axe, he will get burnt, ata hanyate, and that will kill him also. Yadi, now what happens is that the reverse is that ata yadi tasya karta bhavati tata eva satyatmanam kurute saha satyabhisantaha satyatmana yat mana anmandardhaya parasum taptam prati grihnati sana dahyate atha muchyate. Atha, otherwise, tasya akarta bhavati yadi, if he is not done the theft and he is adhering to the truth that I have not done the theft. See, there are two conditions. One is he is saying that he has done the theft, he denies it. The second case is he has not done the theft, again he says he has not done it. In both the cases, his statement is that he has not done it. Therefore, who can make him talk? The fear of getting burnt and dying out of the burnt axe will Atma Rakshartham, to save his own self, he will say the punishment may be lesser if I admit the theft. Therefore, he accepts the theft and say that I have done that. So the punishment will be for the theft. But if he is completely sure that he has not done the theft, the statement from him and the adherence to the truth will be such clear and visually possible for the Raja to see that he is not getting deterred by the hot iron even when he is brought towards that. Tata eva atmanam satyam kurute, if he has done really that he has not done the theft, satyabhisandaha saha satyena atmanam andardhaya apta parasum grihnati. He is ready to take a test because he knows that he has not done the theft. Tapta parasum grihnati. He is agreeing to take the red hot iron. And that Upanishad says, sa na dahyate ada muchyate. He doesn't get burnt, so that he is released. Now, in today's thing, we cannot compare a similar experiment being done because, he will say, if I have done the theft, okay, or done or not the theft, I know. But one of you know that none of you have done the theft. Why don't you touch the red hot iron and show me you are burning or not? Then I can also do the test. That will be the way in which today we will react, or today a thief will react. But for the sake of the story, let us not get into the literal meaning of the story. Here what is that those who are remaining truthful to the truth of the Sat, for him the world, whatever form it is, let it be a hot iron, it doesn't touch him because he is knowing the truth and he is adhering to the truth. Tat satyam sa atma shvetaketu. That is the truth, and that you are that truth. Your body is not the one which is you are. You are beyond the body. You are the Sat. So, the pranks of the world, whether it is a pain of the body, you are able to observe it as an objectified item on your body. The pain of the body will be there, but it is a pain of the body, not yours, because you don't identify with the body anymore. So, a person, one who has understood that tasya tavadeva chidam, one who has understood that the moment Acharyavan Purusha, when he explained this thing, he has abandoned everything that is there in the mundane world, including his body and associated with the body. For such a person, he sees anything happening to his body and the world outside as not his. He doesn't identify with them. For such a person who is unidentified, that whether the body goes through disease, hunger, pain and all, he will be unattached by that. He knows them, he sees them, but he doesn't own those things of the body, because body is an instrument being used. Just as a shirt or a dress getting soiled, people will get to that extent today, the intolerance is such a level they can go and kill the other person because they identified with their dress. But the reality, the person who knows the reality, he is not perturbed by if the dirt if the shirt or the dress is soiled or made dirty by somebody else. He will not get perturbed because he knows, after all, which is a instrument which I am using for my purpose of wearing, and it is not me who has got dirtied by the dirtying of the vessel. That type of an attitude will be taken by the people who have understood the reality of the truth. They will be seen going through the sickness like cancer or amputation or etc. They see the body, they know the body is going through pain, but they don't own the pain. They don't own the suffering. The suffering is not touching them. Like the hot iron is not going to burn the one who is sticking to the truth. He is freed from anything that is in the Asat Rupam, the body and the whole world. He is beyond all of them. This is how the Tattvamasi is completed by Uddalaka to Shvetaketu. Athayata tatra na dashyata. So as long as he is sticking to the truth, he is not being touched by the world outside. Aidadatmyamidam sarvam tat satyam sa atma tattvamasi shvetaketo iti. This is the truth and this is how you have to know what is your reality. Tada tasya vijaniti. That is the time when Shvetaketu repeats again, I have understood what is being now told. This is the final statement when he makes that, and the repetition vijaniti, vijatnyaviti is a repetition, is only from to indicate that Upanishad, this chapter is being concluded. Now, there is a beautiful concluding dialogue between Shankaracharya and his opponent in the Bhashyam. I have made a separate PDF for that, which I'll share it now, but I'm not going to get into that. It is very lucid in English. A translation I have attached with that. Those who want Sanskrit is also there, but go through that for understanding the summary of the 6th chapter, where Tattvamasi Shvetaketo is being explained. So you should be able to go through that, how you can bring clarity to this teaching, because I have rushed through it in a very short form. I have not gone through the Bhashya or independent explanation of each of the mantras and all. But you will get a summary from the attachment which I am going to upload when we're going to share now, when you go through that. And next Friday, if you want, please send a message on the chat. We want to discuss on that. Otherwise, we can have a general question answer in the next Friday, before we go to the 7th chapter on the next week, Wednesday. Not this Friday. The following Wednesday, we will start the 7th chapter. So this Friday will be question answer session. And if you want to discuss any point in the attachment which I'm going to share now, please let me know so that I'll come prepared for it. But you need to give me time that you are going to ask questions from that, right? So just a minute. I'll okay. Let me stop this part of it. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Thank you. Dhanyavada.